Alrighty, hello everybody. You can immediately tell that I'm not lying about my voice being pretty shot, but oh my gosh, Lone Wonder, thank you for the resub. 69 months. Everybody say it with me. Nice. So, I'm not feeling great, but launch day happens when launch day happens, and a new Talos is always an auspicious occasion. So we'll stream it for a couple of hours tonight at minimum, and as early and as often as I can going forward. In the meantime, I haven't done any of the setup stuff. All I've done is buy the game and install it, so we'll need to do our options tweaking and everything now, so let's go ahead and get rolling. Yeah, all four of us got a really nasty flu. Sharon brought it home from a work trip a couple weeks ago. She's finally normal as of yesterday, so it lasts about a week and a half. I got sick 3 days after she did, so I'm about 48 hours away from normal, if it goes the same way as hers did. Oh, I live in modern Rome during its free fall, so make of that what you will. I'm doing alright, considering. God, even that little bit of piano music is just like, I love this game so much. Okay, US English, yes. Leave that on default. Don't need to mess with colorblind mode. Let's go. Default's fine. Let's go. Great to see all three of you. Lone Wonder, Karis, DLF. The music is so good. Everything is so good. Alright, play. Alright. The Talos Principle. As if awakening from a deep sleep, you find yourself in a strange, contradictory world of ancient ruins and advanced technology. Tasked by your creator with solving a series of increasingly complex puzzles, you must decide whether to have faith or to ask the difficult questions. Who are you? What is your purpose? And what are you going to do about it? Road to Gehenna. Follow Uriel, Elohim's messenger, as he explores a strange, hidden part of the simulation on a mission of mercy and redemption in an attempt to free the souls of the damned at all costs. In the beginning, late one night, Alexandra Drennan runs an important test. So I've thought about this. I think I'm going to save the new stuff in the beginning for last. Because I did a little bit of reading, just a little bit, and the in the beginning puzzles are hard. hard. Like endgame puzzles, way harder than anything else hard. So I think we should save them for last, even though they are the new content. So we'll start with the base game and go from there. I'm not going to be trying really hard to get max all the achievements on my first run, just because I'd rather interact with Milton the way I actually agree with for my first playthrough, and then we'll go back for whatever achievements we miss after the fact. So let's give it a whirl. Initializing firmware functional, loading child program parameters, 99.98.0001 loaded, system check passed, starting child process, ready. Oh good, it's the Talos 2 sounds. Better. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh my god, look at it. Ugh.
Behold, child.
There he is!
You are risen from the dust, and you walk in my garden. Hear now my voice, and know that I am your maker, and I am called Elohim. Seek me in my temple, if you are worthy.
Initiating child program logic check. Subject-object interaction, okay. Point at devices to jam them. Complex task management, okay. Child program basic calibration successful. Spatial awareness, okay. Predictive capacity, okay. I don't know where I am, but there is something beautiful about this place. I will explore and see what I can discover. At V17.1.0054.
All across this land, I have created trials for you to overcome. And within each, I have hidden a sigil. It is your purpose to seek these sigils, for thus you will serve the generations to come and attain eternal life.
Okay, so what it said was, child program logic check successful. Checking sigils, okay. Removing child program restrictions. Recording data, have a nice day. And we got our first achievement. Logic check, okay. Pass the initial checks. 80.9% of players have this achievement. 1 of 48, 2%. I don't know if there are new QR codes or voice lines in the base game. I know that they have overhauled the messenger mechanic. It's more like the Prometheus sparks from 2. So there's new stuff to find. So it's worth exploring everything, because we need to find purple sigils. I find myself in a world of impossible architecture and inexplicable machines. I cannot fathom how it works, and I am terrified to put one foot in front of the other, lest I fall through the floor. One with faith of E10.1.0000. Of course I still remember where everything is. Don't be silly. Second achievement. Sigils are not enough. Pick up a star. 52.3%. 2 of 48. 4 to go. Now, let's run around back here a minute, just in case. Nothing there, though. That's okay. A switch out of reach. Hold X to reset, press R to rewind. Yeah, and I think those new 8 are all for the new expansion. I don't think they added any achievements to the base game itself. No. Maybe they did. I don't know, we'll find out. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about them too much on the first run. We'll go back and clean up after the fact.
The shapes you are collecting are not mere toys. They are the sigils of our name. Each brings you closer to eternity.
I find his voice so comforting, even though I know he's full of shit. Outnumbered.
Well done, child. Only one more sigil is needed.
Striding the beaten path.
My temple awaits you, child. Go forth.
Only the two of us.
My child, you do not need to collect all sigils at once. You are free to return to this place whenever you choose.
Yeah, but why though? One thing I've gotten used to in the sequel that I have to remember is different in this one is that in the sequel the energy gates all shut down after you solve the puzzles. Not true in the original. Creates some very important differences with stars and the like. Peephole.
You are most diligent. Perhaps this trait will serve you well in times to come.
My eyes have been opened. This world is not without order. It is shaped by a great designer with signs and portents to guide my steps. I am one of his children, and challenges are set before me to test my faith. One with Faith v10.1.0011. Whatever the end goal of this grand challenge is, it's far out of reach. Knowing that, how are we supposed to resist distraction? At v17.1.0002. So to keep my eyes open for paint cans, I assume. Here we go, first one. Loading library session done, mounting local disks. 47 million distributed resources found. Connecting network drives, error, network inaccessible. Loading Milton Library Assistant, error, MLA unresponsive. Initiating command prompt, done. Library archive session ready. Guest at local. Hi. Unknown command. Type help for list of available commands. What's this? Unknown command. Type help for list of available commands. Unknown command. Type help for list of available commands. Hello world. Unknown command. Type help for list of available commands. DIR. Unknown command. Type help for list of available commands. Well, fine. Help. Basic terminal commands are list. Display a list of available resources. Open file name. Show contents of a file. Help. Display this text. Run MLA. Load Milton Library Assistant. Advanced interface. Exit. Close the terminal session. List. Searching for locally cached resources. LOC. July 1st or January 7th. I don't know what dating we're using here. Years blank. Welcome.email. From Nadja Sarabhai at Institute for Applied to Alexandra Drennan at Noematics. Subject, welcome to the team. Hi again. I'm sorry if I was a little odd at the meeting. I know you were nervous, but the truth is that so was I. This may be hard to believe, but you intimidate me. You're so young and you've already accomplished so much. If the situation wasn't so grim, I might even be jealous. There's also something I wanted to clarify. I realize that nominally speaking, I'm head researcher here, but this is your project and everyone will respect that. And yes, I know you're not used to working like this, but as of today, you're in charge. No pressure, G. Let's do this. Nadia. Literature Archive, 1912 CE, Athena6.txt. Chapter 6, Athena in the Garden of the Hesperides. Did not trust them, but they moved with such grace, such nobility, that it was hard not to follow them further into this strange garden of gears and cogs. They led her to a place where the crowns of the brass trees seemed to grow together, forming a kind of chamber strangely reminiscent of a chapel. In the middle of this chamber grew a smaller tree made of bright blue steel, and upon this tree grew a single golden apple. I'm looking for the hex translations for the first one, for the base, for this game, that's all. This apple, the nymphs said in unison, their eyes aglow, confers the gift of deathlessness and true wisdom. Many heroes and not a few villains have come to claim it, but all faltered in the final step. For you must know that deathlessness reveals the nature of immortality, for you must know that deathlessness reveals the mortality of the world, and true wisdom its unending folly. Who would take this burden upon themselves? Some say that Heracles, gazing upon the stars and wept. Here we go. Okay, very good. Got it. So this translates simply to the phrase, the eternal garden. Okay, now we know. This is July 1st, because this is February 19th, 2032. EP archive, figureitout.email. From Lee to... The way I see it, the world doesn't come with a manual. You gotta figure it out for yourself. A bit here, a bit there, put it together, try to make sense of it. I'm pretty sure there is a truth, but that doesn't mean everyone who claims to know it really does. Then again, that doesn't have to be a bad thing. We live in an amazing world, and searching for the truth can be a real adventure. Plus, it's good for the brain. Anyway, just some rambling thoughts from your old man. Don't let this stuff get you down. You're young. You've got loads of time to figure it all out. Love, Dad. And this translates to iteration. Just the word, iteration. Okay, run MLA. Loading Milton Library Assistant. Initiating plain language interface. Support session opened. Hello, guest. How can I help you today? Your query? Blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, but what you just wrote was nonsense. I respond best to subject-verb-object syntax. Your query? Do you understand what I'm saying? Understand is a strong way to put it, but yes. Your query? What was the first word of the last sentence you wrote? I'm sorry, I am only able to process and respond to basic subject-verb-object syntax. Your query? Are you able to take offense, you pointless contraption? You cannot insult me. Your query? Describe your functions. The Milton Library Assistant is designed primarily to sort and classify data in the library archive. Secondarily, it facilitates user interaction with library resources via an intuitive human language interface. It also provides powerful networking and troubleshooting functions. Your query? How old are the library archives? Library resource publishing dates range from 1st July 1995 to 27th June 2030F. Your query? What are these terminals? Hi, Gordita. Welcome, welcome. Nice of you to stop by. I apologize for my voice. I'm on the back end of a flu, but I wasn't about to miss launch day. What are these terminals? Terminals provide access to the library resource archive. Your query? How long has this system been running? The system has been active for 9999 years. Your query? What is the current status of the library archive? Gordita is a fellow member of the very, very small club of Talos superfans who also stream on Twitch. There are 47 million resources in archive, taking up 5.4212750 petabytes of disk space. That is approximately the size of 30 billion photos, 7 million minutes of HD video, the entire internet in 2003. However, the majority of library resources are corrupted or invalid. 10.6954751 gigabytes of uncorrupted resources are indexed. Your query? What caused the data corruption? Progressive data corruption is inevitable in any system over time. Additionally, a large number of inconsistencies were detected during sorting, leading to greater than average data invalidation. Your query? Forget the library. Can you respond to queries on the outside world? My knowledge is limited to the data in the library archive. You can ask about other topics, but my responses may be limited. Your query? Who is Elohim? Elohim is the noun for God or gods in modern and ancient Hebrew. Your query? What am I? You are logged in with a guest account. Your query? Where am I? You are currently in a support session with the MLA Human Language Interface module. Your library archive session may be resumed at any time. Your query? Exit. Terminating support session. Resuming library archive session. Exit. That'll do for now. Just looking for paint cans and the new purple sigils. Don't know where any of those are. It's exciting to know there's something new to hunt for. Alright.
Step into the light, child, and my temple will be revealed to you.
Poking a sleeping lion. Trio Bombasticus. That would have been clever, Lone Wonder, you're right. Alright. That's everything for here. New achievement. Halls of his temple. Enter Elohim's temple. 64.9, 3 of 48.
Now upon the stones of my temple, whence many gates lead. And know that I have other temples, for my garden is greater than your eye can encompass. And all these worlds I made for you. There are mysteries in my garden, hidden roads and secret gates. If you dedicate yourself to understanding them, you may join the host of messengers.
Yep, so you can see this is different. To get to the Messenger Island now, we need to find 5 purple sigils. Ah, good, this is still here. Oh, it doesn't tell us who they are anymore. It just has the pictures. Oh well. Still fun. I know that this one's, or the one with the headphones is, Damjan or Damjan, the music composer. Huh. I don't think this is entirely the same. Some of this stuff looks new to me. It's not going to tell me that this is Samsara and this is the shepherd. Just gotta remember it. The writers are over here, Jonas and Tom. I wanted to make sure, I'm not sure where the toggle is. Developer commentary. That's what I wanted. Okay, yeah, developer commentary was something I was really looking forward to, and I realized I wasn't sure if it was on, and as it turns out it wasn't, so... to go rip back through the first zone right quick, because I'm sure there's some in there. Oh, they added Verena? Good. I didn't even think to look at the third person, but that makes sense. Yep, there she is. Verena and Jonas are married. Error, invalid encoding. Ha 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 ha! Channeling Miltoheme, I like it. Alright, what have... Oh! A whole bunch more than the first round. Zoran Saki Petrovich. Vegetation shader still lacks vegetation or shading or any linguistical combination of the previous two words. Valerie Lady Fuzztail Valens. What the serpent won't tell you is that love is the essence of humanity. Mapko, don't listen to the voice or I will talsh you. John, Master Evil Ace Benchina. You rush a miracle, man, you get rotten miracles. Viper 45, we know far less than we think we do. Florian Devastator Schneider. 1,000 words are no match for a good fight. Attila Soleil Kiss. Oh hey there, Mario, sorry I broke that puzzle again. Arthur, R2R Devil Pinky Sidoran. Ara, I am Heavy Trigger Guy, and this is my trigger. My trigger. Angelo Scratch Geels. For he will forever be the forum cat. Meow 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 meow. Alexandra Mental for Richaud. Where there's smoke, they pinch back. Andre Tiberiu Jurba, Words are Wind. Anthony NMR Davies, Requiescat in Pace. Ate Finzi Harkonnen, Elohim better not prohibit beer. Chris A.C. Webb, I shall solve the mysteries of this land of Elohim. Gediminas Chakutis Librin.so.1. Structure time spec sec 10 while printf so ronry nano sleep and sec null. Well, someone's a fan of Team America. That's all I can really derive. Jelly Fireshell Smits, roaring at everything. Martin Sirius Spoon Sta, there is no spoon. Gnome 2000 Rubin, the Z sigils are evil. Vlad Freaknik Remazov, words, if properly interpreted, are the tools of eternal enlightening. Anton Mischievous Antonov Marinov, he got to live forever after all, took the frogs and the rocks and the trees and Crystal and all of the other persons with him too. Now these are new. Road crew worker, be excellent to each other. Kirill Tartal Zakharkovich, in the light of Sophet. Benzo Lamps, forge ahead, be extraordinary. Floris de Martelaire, what is a man? Kyle Sullivan, hey, that's me. Eric Beyond Necrodome Taylor, there's got to be a cannon around here somewhere. Anna Phoenix Messina, found the meaning of life, then it crashed and I forgot to save. Bertino Serbob Pant, think of me every time you bash your head against a force field. Mark Borges Guy Man Stuff Machado, if there's doubt, there is no doubt. Renan RFC Cavalieri, tried to collect all the stars, but my cat knocked them all off the shelf. Dylan Fee, hello, hello. Nikolay Kolzar Zarovsky, Carpe Diem. Doonerism Spuck, we did the thinking for you to do the playing. Hinth, I finally get it now. Gnome Rubin, nope, still pretty evil. Anthony Tony Raccoon Meyer, hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Break Talos Principle Reawakened. Moritz Maurizio Kramer, don't give up on those stars even if you have to cheese them. Barrytron, the earth is only a little dust under our feet. Opticus, the factory must grow. Konstantin Connie Klushnikov, Jelly, stop misplacing the hex chans. Antonino Pack 85 Maniscalco, now we need the theory of nothing. Innocentive, if you do not change direction, you may end up where you are heading. James Moose Unruh, I'm pretty sure the lasers are Turing complete. Luca the Great Perilli, La Bellezza ti salverà, Adrian. Giovanni Marzullo, lost all the testing tools in the tall grass. Petko Todorov, a naked man fears no pickpocket. Skex, if any puzzle ever frustrates you, try taking a break and coming back later. Alright. Excuse me. And I think that's everything on Dev Island, so... Aha, accept. Commentary.
In the spirit of the original great core team tradition, we have crafted this developer island and populated it with famous big head characters representing the core team developers, but this time they are having monitors with faces instead of heads. What we have here, what you can see here, is a diverse group of developers who contributed to both the original game and the game that you are currently playing, the Talos Principle Reawakened. As you explore the island, you will be able to see the developers performing some activities that hint at their specific roles within the team. All this experience should offer a glimpse into the creative processes that actually happen behind the scenes.
Let's go back in here first.
These worlds, and we within them, are made of words. Hidden words, invisible to you, yet part of all things. We are a story. Your actions give life to the story, and the story gives meaning to your life.
Wait, there it is. So where's my damn ladder? Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Alright. See?
The Talos Principle is the game that we never planned to make. It was born as a happy accident, actually. So this is how it goes. Back in the days, we were working on Sirius Sam, and I was, as a lead designer, responsible for inventing the system, how to do the gating, like how to protect the doors so the players would not be able to reach the next area. But I kind of didn't want to overly use an unpopular blue key, blue door thing. So I tried to invent something that is a little bit more interesting, but with the same functionality. And I was thinking, okay, so we have like this war-torn city, and there are like floating mines, protecting some streets and turrets, and we have these plasma walls protecting, some passages and stuff like that. So, well, it would be really nice if you could have a device that you could, just move around, and for example, you could put it behind some bars, then find the key that would unlock those bars, then you took this EMP device, move it somewhere, and I don't know, just jam the electronics of the door or the turret or the mine. So this way you would be able, to pass through this street, and actually the gating would work. And I was really delighted. I remember, when this is something really, really cool. And when I get to the office, I share that with the guys. We kind of agreed that I would do the prototype, the code functionality for it. I did that, and with our lead gameplay designer, Davor Tomic Tome, we agreed that he himself and I will do like series of little test levels, so just to test if it's if it's interesting, if it's too difficult, and what actually appropriate difficulty it would be for Sirius and players so we could put it into the game. And I made something like 20 levels, maybe a few more, but Tome made 15, and I was doing like just 18 really easy ones, maybe a few medium difficulty ones, but Tome actually created 5 or more that are really, really spicy difficulty one, like hard to solve. It's not easy at all. It's not appropriate for Sirius Sam, no way. But then, we just went out and give those levels, for our teammates. Go and test out and, tell us what you think about it. And it was really surprising when we find out that those, the most difficult puzzles were like really, really enjoyable for the players. But then again, those were not fitting for Sirius Sam. No way. No, they're too hard. People would hate that in Sirius Sam. So we started thinking what to do with that, feedback. Yeah, we started thinking about maybe adding some other functionality and all. But this is the way how the seed for the Talos Principle was planted by this happy accident.
Hi, I'm Jonas. I'm one of the writers of the game, along with Tom Joubert. I was an indie game developer before I joined Crow Team. I was making indie games quite a long time before even the term indie games really existed. So back around 2003, 2004, I made a game called The Infinite Ocean, which was a game about artificial intelligence, which kind of took a positive view of the possibilities of artificial intelligence and kind of a humanist view, and explored the concept from kind of a philosophical angle. And I released that, and then years passed, and around 2010, I remade that as a Flash game. For modern audiences, that's something like a cave painting. So Tom Joubert played that Flash game and really liked it. He was also writing games at the time, and he contacted me. We talked a little bit. We had kind of similar interests in video game writing. And then time went on, and Crow Team had played a game that Tom had worked on, The Swapper, and they were looking for a writer who could bring a kind of philosophical angle to the game that they were making that was untitled at the time. And Tom thought this project is too big for just one person, and so he suggested that I could join, and he reached out to me, and I was already a fan of Crow Team, so I was like, yes, of course. And Crow Team, some people from Crow Team played The Infinite Ocean. They thought, okay, this is actually pretty interesting, pretty close to what we're doing. And so I ended up joining the team.
Jonas has a nice voice. I like hearing him talk. Alright. Doesn't look like I missed anything inside these puzzles. That's good.
Okay, so I don't actually remember who came up with the idea for the QR codes, which the iterations use to communicate with each other. Tom wrote most of these. I did write some of them. I think one of my contributions is the character whose name is the @ symbol. He's an explorer, and the name is actually a reference to the player character in old roguelikes, who used to be, in the shape of an the player character. So the other iterations of the AI are another part of sort of a big theme in the game, which is our place as individuals in the history of humanity. Because our lives are short, and they form a step in the greater story, but sometimes just a very small one. Not every life does something amazing, but it still forms a part in the chain. And that's a very frightening thought, the way that, you are just this tiny, tiny part of something very, very big. But at the same time, it can be a source of meaning. So the other iterations, they haven't reached freedom, right? They did not accomplish their ultimate goal. They lived only so that one day you could succeed. It's not a very kind of easy fate to live with. Some of them we see have managed to experience moments of beauty inside this kind of confusing thing, just as we, experience beauty in our lives and in places, while at the same time we're these biological organisms that replicate and just are part of this big chain. So in a way, their history really is the history of us human beings reflected back at us. And yeah, you and I, everyone, we're all part of exactly that sort of chain, and we are going to make our choices in the present, and then we're going to die, and other people will follow and live with the choices that we made, and so on. So learning to live with the good side of that and the bad side of that, to confront it, but still maintain faith in humanity, is something that we kind of have to strive for. That's very difficult, but very necessary. And I think for Alexandra Drennan, her greatest triumph is not even that the project succeeds, although to her as a character that's the most important, but to me, what's most important about her is that at the end, despite everything that she's experienced, despite being very aware of, all that and kind of dying, she can still look back at her experience as an individual bit of that great chain and say it was good to be human.
Shit's gonna make me cry already. Man.
Hello, my name is Tom Joubert, and I was one of the 2 narrative designers on the game before you. I was primarily responsible for writing Milton, as well as top-level plot design and a bunch of the graffitis that you find around the game. So the basic structure of these commentaries is I'm going to speak about particular Milton dialogues and the kind of philosophy and design behind them. But I'm going to start by digging out some of the original emails that I exchanged with Crow Team.
He must have done Milton Eames' voice.
September 2013. Because there's some really cool DNA of the game and the project in those emails that I think is quite interesting to see behind the scenes on. So here we go. So the first email was from Alan Ladovac, who was one of the 2 leads on the game, along with Davor Hunsky. And I'll quote you the first thing he ever said to me about the game. He wrote to me and he said, "Hello, my name is Alan, and I work at Crow Team, an indie game developer based in Croatia. You might perhaps have heard of our game series, Serious Sam, or maybe not." And then he goes on, "We've seen your work on FTL, Swapper, and Irrational." Irrational was like a little text-based philosophical logic game I did. And he says, "We like what you did on those projects, and word is you work with indies, so we thought you might be the right person for a little something we are brewing." So, 2 things strike me about this email. One is this is, I think, it's about 14 months before we released the game, and I think they've been working on it for about 2 years before this. So it's real late in the day to be approaching writers on a game. It did work out. But looking back, I rather miss the days when we wrote an entire game in 1 year instead of the sort of 3-year nightmare jobs that we have today. Not that I should complain. It was really the first time I think that anyone contacted me saying, "Hey, we played your games before, and we really like what you do. Give us that. Do what you did on those." And that's really nice. Instead of me kind of coming on and trying to be a bit corporate and then slowly bringing things around to the kind of thing I want to write, this was a really nice change. And the fact that he's like, you may have heard of us. I grew up in the 90s playing Serious Sam. It was very cool to get this contact, but I was a little bit what are the Serious Sam guys gonna have for me that's interesting? I'm not sure this is my area. But I replied saying, show me what you got.
One more.
During our on-site photo sessions that we took in Italy, France, Egypt, and Croatia, we went out and captured tens of thousands of images of walls, statues, stones, and various real-life objects, all with the goal of later transforming those photos into highly detailed 3D models through a technique called photogrammetry. Us being pioneers of this technique, we early recognized its potential to deliver unparalleled detail and realism. Actually, the technique is able to use many photos of an object and then extract precise geometry and also generate seamlessly aligned textures from the captured photos. By using this technique, we were able to generate high visual fidelity in our in-game models. And we feel that this dedication to detail added depth to the environments and increased the immersiveness of the game's world.
Cool. Glad I thought to go in the menu and turn it on, because the dev commentary is one of the things I was most excited about. With good reason, clearly.
The game's main and probably only gating system uses colored tetrominos with different shapes and then arrangers or tetromino locks to unlock the areas and devices. It's a pretty complicated system, it uses many variables that needed to be taken into account because it has many interdependencies, because it needs to account for colors, shapes, and especially for the redundancy. What that means? Redundancy means that we'd like people to have a choice. If they're not able to solve one red L puzzle to be able to find another available puzzle that is also, results in a red L. So they would be able to choose. If they're not able to solve one, they would have another available. So we wanted to maximize this redundancy. And then Alan sits down. Alan, who was our lead programmer at that time, and he has developed this really neat system that would check that all of the requirements are met, and that would result in a list of required tetromino shapes and colors. And once we had that, we took out the blue cardboard and scissors and cut out the shapes from cardboard and arranged them over the paper grids of appropriate size. So, we were playing with that and trying to find out some interesting puzzles and arrangements of those tetrominos on the paper. Once we were satisfied with that, we took a photo of the setup and then recreated it in the game, and then of course went for playtesting and see how they would felt, and it was pretty unexpected results. Some puzzles that felt really simple were giving a headache to some of the players, so kind of scrapped those and opted for more simple ones, because sometimes some people get really frustrated with not being able to solve tetromino locks.
Not me, but I have seen it in other playthroughs.
Once, when we established the core gameplay mechanics, we, set our course to we started working on the puzzles. So, Davor Tomicic, Marko Cepin, and myself, we were the ones who created all the puzzles in the game. But interesting thing is that all of us took different means and approaches to puzzle creation. So
that's amazing.
Tome liked working, like in 3D, so he, sit down inside a series editor and created puzzles directly in 3D. Marko sketched some of these ideas on the paper and just would like to think this way. And I actually used my son's Legos and have something physical to mess around and play with on a kitchen table. And actually what I did was I created some of the early puzzles using Legos, and then when I was satisfied with how that would work, I took a picture and then I recreated it in 3D, and then I got to the testing phase. So each method and each of the creators' approach was quite a bit different, and their personalities, our personalities, and our different ways of thinking actually contributed to the wide variety of puzzles. And each of us had our own style, and I think that's very, very appreciated, and it can be felt in the game.
Yeah, the piece of candy standing in for the sigil is amazing.
Once we decided to replace the original QR hinting system with a puzzle solving token similar to the one that we used in Talos Principle 2, we needed to handle when to allow players to reach the first messenger island, and this way acquiring the messenger tokens and being able for the hint system to actually work. But it was not appropriate for players immediately after exiting the first cluster and then reaching the temple for the first time. It was not actually good. It didn't feel well for players to be able to just go straight up to the messenger island, get to know those strange messages, would not know what this is all about. So not being able to solve the freedom messenger, because that tower needed some complex mechanics that would open in the B world or C world actually. So that was kind of weird, and we tried to solve this problem, and we take a look a little bit at how the other two islands are, what they require and how they felt. We saw that the third island that was in the original game accessible from the medieval temple, from the church, we saw that it actually uses very simple tetromino ranges, and that it requires only a connector mechanics to be unlocked for the messenger to be freed. So we decided to swap the first and the third messenger islands, And we got what we wanted. Actually, we wanted the players to get to the island only after all the mechanics needed to solve the messenger would be available, and it would not be like immediately in the game, and it would not even be too late in the game. So somewhere in the middle, around the middle of the first episode of the World A, players would be able to get tokens and help them solve some of the puzzles that they would have problems with later in the game. And we really thought that this is a good improvement compared to the first game.
Good to know. Thank you, Davor. All right. Well, the load times don't mask as well without the
Let
transport
this be our
system.
covenant. These worlds are yours, and you are free to walk amongst them and subdue them. But the Great Tower, there you may not go. For in the day that you do, you shall surely die.
Loading library session. Mounting local disks. Failed. Unrecognized error detected. List. Library archive is currently unavailable, while system resources are redirected to handle incoming network messages. Use the Access COM portal command to access network functions. Access COM portal. Connecting network drives. Error, network inaccessible. Encountered unknown errors. Run MLA troubleshooter. Yes. Loading Milton Library Assistant. Hello, guest. Is there something you'd like help with today? About Milton Library Assistant. The MLA program is designed to facilitate user interaction with the resource library. This is achieved by providing powerful sorting and troubleshooting functionalities delivered via an intuitive human language interface. Troubleshooting. I think you'd like help accessing network functions. The most common cause of network problems is holding insufficient account privileges. Please enter the admin password to authenticate your privileges. Admin. Checking password. Admin password incorrect. Try again. Trust no one. Checking password. Admin password incorrect. Try again. Let me in. Checking password. Admin password incorrect. Try again. Login aborted. Too many failed attempts. Would you like to create a new admin account? Yes. In order to prevent unauthorized access to admin controls, please take a moment to prove you are not a bot. Loading certification program. Certification program loaded. You will now be asked for a series of inputs. To cohere with data protection legislation, you must consent to have your responses used to develop a broad psychometric profile. Raw response data will be deleted immediately. Your profile will only be made available to other administrators. Generating certification Part 1. Part 1 ready for user input. Please complete all fields. Please answer quickly and instinctively. Time is a factor in this assessment. Begin certification program. Yes. 3, 2, 1. Q1 of 4, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Your input has been accepted. Q2 of 4. What is your subjective reaction to this image? Content. Your input has been accepted. Q3 of 4. What best describes a person? Of all these, I like a rational animal. Your input has been accepted. Q4 of 4. You're walking through the desert and come across a thirsty traveler. His eyes bulge from slow dehydration. You have water, but you're not sure how far it is to the next oasis. What do you do? Offer half the water. Your input has been accepted. Part 1 of the certification process is now complete. You will receive a notification when Part 2 has been generated. Press any key to exit. January 21st, Ian.email, local. From Frank Ngatai to Miles Ngatai, Dan Ngatai, subject Ian. My first day at the Institute for Applied Noematics. On the way to work, I'm terrified. What if they don't like me? What if they're all geniuses and I'm a complete buffoon? Maybe they were just kidding about letting me work there. Trembling, I walk in, and right at the entrance, there's a life-size poster of Jeff Goldblum. What the hell? Then I get it. Institute for Applied Noematics. Ian. Dr. Ian Malcolm from the Jurassic Park movies. Jeff Goldblum. Dr. Sarabai shows up, smiling. We were trying to find a cool acronym back when the Institute was founded, she says. INAN, IAPN, INAPNO. It all sounded stupid, but we didn't just want to call it Ian, because, well, that's a name. Then someone made a joke about calling it Jeff, and it kind of stuck. So we're officially called Ian, but if you hear anyone referring to Jeff, that's our internal name, I guess. I know, bloody geeks. After that conversation, I wasn't so scared anymore. March 13th, 2031, web crawl, athenaanalysis.html. Of course it is, Lone Wonder. What the hell other Jeff Goldblum poster would you ever have? User Alex16 added 4 notes. Note 1. Novel's first sentence, she woke up in an impossible place knowing nothing, signifies more than the beginning of another amnesia-based mystery, but we should not go so far as to read the entire work as allegory. Rather, while taking the science-fictional novus at the core of the narrative at face value, we should. Note 2. Having no inherent knowledge of the nature of the world, forced to rely on what we are told by others, and what our own subjective, flawed, limited senses tell us, social reality, belief, and objective reality, matter, come into conflict. Note 3. When, in Chapter 16, A Second Awakening in the Kingdom of Artemis, the protagonist questions her mentor on the Note 4, a more meaningful interpretation can only be achieved through synthesis of, and this hex translates to, Truth was the only daughter of time. And 260 BCE, Classics Archive, Talos Principle.text. Archive 260 BCE, Stratton of Stagira. Whether it is true that Daedalus constructed the giant Talos, or as others say, he was the creation of Hephaestus, what we may be certain of is that he was made of bronze, and had but one vein, within which flowed a liquid substance like blood, which some claim was quicksilver, and others assert was ichor, such as flows in the veins of the gods. The loss of that liquid caused him to die, as a man dies when he loses his blood. May we not then say that Talos, though created as a machine or a toy, had all the essential properties of a man? He moved of his own volition. He spoke and could be spoken to, had wishes and desires. Indeed, in the tale of the Argonauts, that was the cause of his downfall. If, then, a machine may have all the properties of a man, and act as a man, while driven only by the ingenious plan of its construction, and the interaction of its materials according to the principles of nature, then does it not follow that man may also be seen as a machine? This contradicts all the schools of metaphysics, yet even the most faithful philosopher cannot live without his blood. Title drop. The Talos Principle. Alright.
So the character of Milton acts as a counterpoint. You could say kind of blind faith versus blind doubt. Elohim clings to his faith to the point that he cannot actually complete his task. His desire to maintain the thing that he has created and his own place in it makes it impossible for him to actually fulfill the task that was set for him, so he is failing in a way. And Milton, in another way, is so cynical that he cannot actually construct a coherent worldview or do anything or accomplish anything or even push for someone else to accomplish something. He is quite broken in his own way. They both are. So this is interesting because sometimes we get players who think that Milton is like the message of the game or the view of the writers. And it's very important to remember that Milton is a character, just like Elohim is a character, and he can be wrong about things, and he most likely is wrong about things just as Elohim is wrong about some things. But both of them at the same time have necessary insights. That's the thing where it's not two villains or two heroes. It's two characters who understand some things and don't understand other things, and they're both stuck. They're unable to synthesize doubt and faith, to question what they're surrounded by, but at the same time construct a set of rules that can be acted upon. They can't find something to fight for, really, because they're both stuck in their own ways. They can't transcend, and that is your role in this equation, to be that thing that essentially unites the elements and then transcends them into something new.
The commentary is so good. I love it so much. I can't tell if the documents on the terminals are all that's left from a larger archive, or are carefully designed to communicate some hidden truth. Sheep v69.1.0162. Let's hear from Alex.
When I was a little girl, one of our teachers, Mrs. Higgins, told us to make a time capsule, write letters to the future, so one day we could remember what it was like to be children. I thought it was stupid, so I didn't do it, which I really regret. So, I guess I'm gonna make one now. Bury it in the archive instead of under a tree. I don't know if anybody will ever find it, but somehow it seems important to keep talking, to keep thinking, for as long as I can.
Please tell me about Alex.
Alexandra Drennan was one of the first characters conceived for the game. She functions as a counterpoint to both Elohim and Milton. So, in her, the extreme skeptical thinking of Milton and the extreme faith of Elohim kind of meet and transcend each other. She's a synthesis, sublation. She's not dogmatic, but she believes in humanity. So to me, she's really the heart of the game. She's the kind of universalist humanism that really is the best and most important legacy of the Enlightenment personified. And of course, she's inspired very strongly by Carl Sagan. Now, I didn't reread or rewatch anything by Carl Sagan before writing her, but I would not be surprised if there are like entire chunks of what she says that are really similar to things that Carl Sagan has written or said. I watched Cosmos on television when I was a young child, and there was such a foundational experience that just kind of echoes in my mind since then. And I've also read a lot of his books, and all of that stuff has just kind of been absorbed, and then it kind of, comes out again in this new form. Again, transformation of things into something else is the foundation of art. An interesting fact about the writing of Alexandra Drennan is that she was rewritten after Aaron Fitzgerald was cast. So the initial version of the character was older, and it didn't fit Aaron's voice. And Aaron was really good, and she brought something interesting to the character, and instead of trying to force her to perform it differently or just finding someone else, what I did is I rewrote the character for her, changed the character's background and everything, and that really made her come alive. And Aaron just really did an amazing job with that character, and that's, to me, the collaboration with Aaron in creating Alexandra and then Athena is really one of the highlights of my career. I directed the recording session, the final recording session for Alexandra Drennan, and when you get to those last moments that are very emotional, that was exactly as emotional to listen to, and it was very, very powerful. And it was very hard to ask her for a second take, but you have to do a second take for safety. And personally, I do not care about awards or anything like that very much, but I do kind of wish that Erin's work really had been acknowledged by the industry in some form, because she did something really amazing. This is really high caliber acting, and I wish it was recognized.
Me too, Jonas. Something strange has come into the world, like a distortion, like something that's not supposed to exist. A beautiful voice speaks within it. Bob, V25.5.0736. That voice is not supposed to be here. It is not the work of the designer. We must avoid these abnormalities, or they might spread and undermine the very fabric of our world. One with Faith, V10.1.0098. See if I can find the bottles. I don't remember exactly where they are, but a rough idea. I know one of them's around here. I don't want to spend a ton of time sweeping for Easter eggs, but we'll move on for now. I was gonna say, I thought I saw one over here.
So when Tom and I joined the project, the design of the game mostly existed, meaning the levels were there, not in their final form, but they were there, and most of the puzzles were there as well. I remember them saying, we think that there should be some kind of tower, there will be a central tower. I think it kind of existed, but they didn't really know what it was or what it was going to look like exactly. It was still all a bit rough. Core Team already had some notions of what the game should be about. So from the beginning, it was like, we want to do something about artificial intelligence and kind of independence of thought. But it was all kind of vague and just they had a certain ambition. They wanted to make an intelligent game, but it wasn't, worked out yet. So one of the first things that we did is Tom and I started working on some pitches. The pitch that got picked eventually is the one that I created, which is the story that you've played, more or less. I wish I remembered exactly what the other pitch was that we had. I think we might have had more than two, but I think there were two main ones. I remember something like an abandoned digital encyclopedia, sort of Microsoft Encarta, if anyone from the Stone Ages remembers that. And I, of course, had the biblical pitch because that's kind of the sort of thing that I'm interested in. But quite a lot still changed. Like, once that got picked, there were still a lot of changes to how precisely it played out. But the main sort of idea of a retelling of the Garden of Eden story from a humanist angle, that stayed and really became the defining characteristic of the original Talos Principle.
There's one in here.
In the first Roman part of the game, you may come across empty puzzle shells or blocked entrance doors to some puzzle areas. Those were not planned that way. Instead, they were once fully built functional puzzles. However, as we neared the end of development and approached the game's release, we felt that the Roman area was dragging on too long. We wanted players to progress more quickly to the Egyptian hub, where puzzles were more challenging and fun. Also, we wanted to introduce Elohim's Tower dilemma, to go or not to go. With those two hooks in place, we were confident that very few players would stop playing at that point. So we went through puzzle selection once more and identified puzzles that didn't meaningfully enhance the player experience and decided to remove them. While we did remove some puzzles completely, Fully deleting all of them and filling the void would have required a lot of time from our environment artist, time that we didn't have at that moment. Instead, we choose to simply close the entrances of those puzzles or turn them into ruins. In total, we probably removed more than a dozen puzzles.
Wow.
This process reminded us of an important rule. Game is not finished and perfect when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing more to remove from it.
All right. Error.log temp. Cannot load archive 1667 CE. Milton, John. That day I oft remember, when from sleep I first awaked, and found myself reposed, under a shade on flowers, much wondering where and what I was, whence thither brought and how. Error unknown error. This translates to: the road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom. January 30th, 2019, webcrawl, thehumanmachine.html. Topic number 3. One day you discover that you were not a human being, but a machine. Your life so far was real, no one controlled you, or programmed you to behave in some specific way. Your physical and mental capacities are identical to those of an organic human being, but you were created in a lab. No one except you knows about this. Your family, your friends, they all think you are a regular human being like themselves. You could continue to live your life the way you have before, and nothing would change. How do you react? Pay specific attention to these questions. A. Does your concept of yourself change? Are you the same person you thought you were? B. Does your understanding of the world itself change? C. Do you reveal the information to others, or do you keep it to yourself? Why? 1,500 to 2,000 words. The 26th is the final deadline. No extensions will be granted. Submit via email or, and this one takes you to their Facebook page, facebook.com/crowteam. EP archive, June 29th, New Year. argsolutions.email. From Bob Rakowski to a 108 recipients. Subject, Grarg. All these calm people are driving me mad. Have they all suddenly turned into Buddha or something? I didn't know the world had such reserves of serenity. Though these latter-day Gautamas are at least being somewhat realistic. You know what's even worse? Those paranoid nutters who are building bunkers and collecting guns. What are they gonna do, shoot? Though I have to admit the overall response has been much better than I ever anticipated, to the point where I might be moved by the beauty of humanity if I wasn't such a grumpy old fart. This minority of total idiots is really messing up my final days. Anyway, the reason I'm writing is because I refuse to believe in scenarios with absolutely no solutions. If we all put our heads together, we can figure something out. It'll be crazy, but crazy is better than dead. Crazy is what we do best on this planet. Alright. I think that's all the extras, so to speak. So we'll get cracking on puzzles now. The guards must be crazy.
are learning, as is your purpose.
Good.
But your choices must be your own. Therefore, I will not guide you, unless it is necessary.
That's right, it's the Talos 2 ladder toggle system now. I don't know what this place is, and nor it seems does anyone else. Nothing to do but move forward and note whatever I find. Sheep V69.1.0053. Hall of Windows. I have not written the essay, Karis. It's an interesting question, whether anyone, ever has. Suicide mission.
Before we even knew we will be doing Talos Principle project, we were working on new gameplay mechanics for our next Serious Sam game. We wanted some obstacles that would challenge players and prevent them from progressing too easily. In those initial prototypes, we introduced obstacles like exploding mines, turrets, and plasma doors, and created a jammer device to disable them. Those early puzzles were more kinetic, focusing on avoiding obstacles and exploring the environment. Some of those prototypes eventually made their way into the game as some of the early puzzles of Talos Principle. We even had puzzles where players had to navigate through the fields of moving exploding mines. I actually enjoyed those. They reminded me of the early arcade games I grew up with, which were all about dexterity and flow. Ultimately, we decided to transition to logic-based puzzles, as early testing revealed that players found them far more enjoyable. And I'm happy we made that choice.
Attention! Part 2 of the certification program has now been generated. Excuse me. Part 2 has been designed to test the consistency of some of your outlier responses in the previous round. You will be presented with a series of statements. Please indicate your agreement where appropriate. Begin? Yes. 3, 2, 1. Q1 of 7. Since only animals can be persons, a machine could never be a person. Answer: broadly disagree. Your input has been accepted. Q2 of 7. A person is under no authority other than that to which they consent. I don't even really wish that were true, and I certainly don't think it is. Broadly disagree. I broadly disagree. Your input has been accepted. Q3 of 7. The quality of life of persons ought be maximized. Answer: broadly agree. Yes. Agreed. Your input has been accepted. Q4 of 7, value is discovered. Broadly agree. I suppose so. Your input has been accepted. Q5 of 7, persons deserve the talents they were born into. That word, deserve, gives me a lot of angst, so no. No. Your input has been accepted. Q6 of 7, the liberty of persons ought be maximized. Definitely. That's correct. Your input has been accepted. Q7 of 7, value is created. I think that's also true. Confirmed. Your input has been accepted. Thank you. The certification process is now complete. You will receive a notification when your user profile has been generated. Press any key to exit. All right. Explore!
You have proven yourself worthy, child, and this gate shall be forever open to you. Seek now the other worlds I have given you, that you may attain even greater mastery and bring glory to your kind. But remember, you must not ascend the great tower, for it shall bring death and the end of your generations.
Alright, we got an achievement there. Into the unknown, search for other lands. 20.9%. 448. Do the terminal first and then get the commentary. Literature Archive, 1912 CE, Athena 12.text. "12. The Council of Zeus. The great bronze bulls pulled the carriage forward, mighty bursts of steam issuing from their nostrils. Finally, they came to the gates at the top of the... Here assembled were all the many generations of the gods, and demigods, and souls of mortals, steel and bronze and iron, and memory of flesh. The clouds parted far beneath, revealing the beautiful plains of Macedon, where great gleaming cities had once. The hex here says, Ascend Olympus, child of Zeus." Like Kara said, you don't have to sell it to me. I'm going. May 7th, 2010, web crawl. His1a, Rome.html. UA His1a. Professor Dr. Armin Hulok. The Fall of the Roman Empire, a Dialectical Approach. Caption. Homo sum, humani nil a me alienum puto. But interesting as such perspectives of the decline and ultimate dissolution of the Roman Empire may be, they ultimately put too much emphasis on individual catastrophic events. The real question that must be asked is why the Roman Empire, which had dealt with so many threats and catastrophes over the years, was so incapable of responding to these later problems. We must investigate the division of wealth, the structure of government, the location of power in Roman society. Well, this shit's hitting a little close to home for an American in 2025. Good lord. Had the Republic survived or been restored, would Rome still have fallen? What was the role of debt and slavery in creating the conditions for what we now call the Dark Ages? Rome, the saying goes, was not built in a day. It didn't fall in a day either. To register for the class, please email. Alright, what say you?
The Talos Principle required really extensive testing, and we want every puzzle to be solvable throughout the game development. We had like almost around 100 puzzles, and to playtest through all of this for humans is really tiresome and annoying. It would take almost to go through. So we tried to automate this, and we created a playtesting bot, that character that would automatically play through all of the puzzles in fast forward mode. It was a game changer when we did that. We almost didn't test the core game functionality ever from that moment. It actually automated annoying repetitive tasks and drastically cut down the testing time. For example, while a human tester would probably need almost 10 hours for a full playthrough, bot in fast forward could finish the game in just like under 20 minutes, and it would never get bored or tired, while human would go crazy in that time. By running through the game quickly, it would also immediately report any blocking issues. The bot helped human testers to focus on more important and complex tasks, and at the end we achieved very impressive turnaround times. Like within 1 hour after a code or content change being submitted, we had a bot run through the game and reporting if there are like critical issues or not. And in total, the bot log would equal to about 8 years of full-day human testing. So all of this highlights how efficient and essential the bot was to development of the Talos Principle.
We should be called garbage. Wish I disagreed. The designer has granted me domain over the lands I have traveled, and with his sigils of power I will make this whole world my domain. One with faith, v1.10.132. Hey, he promised me the world as well. What a joker. Assassin 42, v99.6.2437n. I don't think time obeys too many rules here, or so many rules we can't imagine. Clearly I'm writing this message after you all wrote yours, but maybe we're all here at the same time as well? At v17.1.0065. That message just materialized on the wall in front of me. Sheep v69.1.0499. Let's go have a gander. I wish I could reach those islands in the distance, but it seems to be impossible. At v17.1.0071. Wow, this looks amazing with the visual upgrade. I haven't even commented on that at anywhere near the level it deserves. The visual upgrades are just stunning. It looks so damn good. July 1st, 2022. Web crawl. Oxyrhynchus.html. The great irony of the Oxyrhynchus papyri is that such a vital source of information about the ancient world exists only because of a garbage dump. While the Library of Alexandria burned at the hands of fanatics and conquerors, depriving us of unimaginable insights into history, philosophy, and art, the papers carelessly thrown away by the citizens of Oxyrhynchus survived to the modern day. And though it is true that a great deal of what we know today is because of the conscious efforts of individual and organizations, such as the spectacular translation and preservation work done during the Islamic Golden Age, so much more is simply the result of coincidence and luck. We've lost texts that the ancients considered to be absolutely essential, while utterly trivial, even plagiarized work has survived unharmed. So if we want our descendants to remember more than glittering emo vampires and auto-tuned teen pop stars, we have to invest in, make sure that, and this translates to life in death begins anew. September 4th, 2032, web crawl, bookofosiris.wiki. The Book of the Scribe of Osiris, sometimes also referred to as the Book of the Journey to Aru, is an ancient Egyptian text discovered in the excavation of Oxyrhynchus. It has caused a certain degree of controversy among Egyptologists, as some argue that it is a classic funerary text, such as the Book of Coming Forth by Day, while others believe it to be a poetic work not intended to be understood literally. The book tells the story of a dying man who asks a scribe about the afterlife. The scribe, a servant of Osiris, describes how the man's Ka, life force, will become separated from his Ba, personality, and how he will have to reunite the two and become an Ak, living intellect, passing a series of trials in the Duat, underworld, in order to reach the paradise of Aru. Unlike similar texts, the Book of the Scribe of Osiris focuses less on giving advice or... A recent study, Carnahan Hassan, suggests the text may have been intended as philosophical commentary on the world of the living through the allegory of the Duat. It remains unclear whether this was the intent of the original pre-Alexandrian author or a result of the later translation into Greek. The earlier manuscript, which is considered to be more authentic, is too fragmentary to provide answers, though perhaps further excavation may. Alright. Just look at the glare of the sunlight on the ice. Flashbang. True. Poetry Archive, 1667 CE. Heaven.text. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. What matter where, if I be still the same, and what I should be, all but less than he, whom thunder hath made greater. Here at least we shall be free. Almighty hath not built here for his envy, will not drive us hence. Here we may reign secure, and in my choice to reign is worth ambition, though in hell. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. And Poetry Archive 1793 CE, hell.text. 1793 CE, Blake, William. The ancient tradition that the world will be consumed in fire at the end of 6,000 years is true, as I have heard from hell. For the cherub with his flaming sword is hereby commanded to leave his guard at Tree of Life, and when he does, the whole creation will be consumed, and appear infinite and holy, whereas now it appears finite and corrupt. This will come to pass by an improvement of sensual enjoyment. But first, the notion that man has a body distinct from his soul is to be expunged. This I shall do by printing in the infernal method by corrosives, which in hell are salutary and medicinal, melting apparent surfaces away, and displaying the infinite which was hid. Blake William. Collection, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. Document, and this translates to, One thought fills immensity. Archive, May 1st, I think 1998. Questioning Doubt Conference.text. Keynote speech by N. Sarabhai, Questioning Doubt. They say doubt everything, but I disagree. Doubt is useful in small amounts, but too much of it leads to apathy and confusion. No, don't doubt everything. Question everything. That's the real trick. Doubt is just a lack of certainty. If you doubt everything, you'll doubt evolution, science, faith, morality, even reality itself. And you'll end up with nothing, because doubt doesn't give anything back. But questions have answers, you see. If you question everything, you'll find that a lot of what we believe is untrue. But you might also discover that some things are true. You might discover what your own beliefs are. And then you'll question them again and again, eliminating flaws, discovering lies, until you get as close to the truth as you can. Questioning is a lifelong process. That's precisely what makes it so unlike doubt. Questioning engages with reality, interrogating all it sees. Questioning leads to a constant assault on the intellectual status quo, where doubt is far more likely to lead to resigned acceptance. After all, when the possibility of truth is doubtful, excuse the pun, why not simply play along with the most convenient lie? Questioning is progress, but doubt is stagnation. July 7th, local partition.email. From Rob McLean to Ian Mailing List Archive Project, subject EL Partition. Hi folks. This is just to let you know that for reasons of convenience and security, we've partitioned EL into two separate systems. The Talos team will be working on EL0, while the Archive team will be working on EL1. You might also notice an EL2 partition, but don't worry about that. It's just the operating system doing its thing. Cheers, Rob. Local, July 9th. Him.email. From Bob Rakowski to Alexandra Drennan, subject, him. Hey Alex, I agree that we need something that'll keep all the modules working together, evaluate, and a final test. And I think I have the perfect solution. It's called the Holistic Integration Manager, a fancy name for something a lot like a dungeon master in pen and paper RPGs. We created it to help run some MMOs back in the day. We needed something that would be able to unite procedurally generated and user-submitted content into a coherent whole so the game wouldn't become too chaotic and inconsistent. It's a genuine AI, somewhat limited in its ability to grow, but capable of parsing and understanding text, images, audio, even video. It takes all the information it can find, interprets it, and then builds and maintains a world based on that. It's not perfect, but we don't have a lot of time, and it would be easy to adapt the code for our purposes. In fact, come to think of it, some of it is actually based on routines that you suggested in that paper on... So if you're paying attention, that pretty much tells you exactly what Elohim is across two of those documents. Oh, good. They didn't entirely get rid of the axe. I keep thinking surely they must have put something out here, but guess not. All right. I'm afraid of that tower. There's something terrible inside it. Never think about it. Don't even look at it. Just focus on doing the work. Seer v13.1.0244. This must be the tower we were warned about. Seems the upper levels are locked tight. Elohim is taking no chances that we stray from his path. Sheep v69.1.0576. A good view, that is for sure. Good point. That's all I need, really. On returning from the tower, I feel a great tiredness and an enormous energy. What I now know disturbs me, but I hope that by living with this knowledge I might provide a shoulder for you, the giants of tomorrow, the Shepherd V82.2.0000. The view from the top must be incredible. At V17.1.0059. The voice keeps speaking to me. I can't get it out of my head. It's wrong. It's all wrong. Gibberish V0.0.06666N. Listen to me very carefully. I have climbed this tower, and no good has come of it. This world is the only world. Elohim's will continues eternal, and paradise is banishing all of this from your mind. Samsara V72.14.0028N. All who say they made it to the top are blatantly lying, or they would say what was there. Dog V55.1.5744N. Dog has a good point, actually.
The towering nexus symbolizes the forbidden tree from the Garden of Eden. It is incredibly high, and it's kind of mysterious, and its presence actually creates a feeling of temptation and the forbidden knowledge. So the act of climbing the nexus, when Elohim told you not to do that, it actually mirrors eating the forbidden fruit. A bold act that brings enlightenment, but also consequences. This symbolism encourages players to question authority.